the moment was like, all right, go time, was when like the ref like initiated over to like the person that like walked down the cage, and that was like, okay, go time. It was like almost a moment of like, oh god, it's happening. Like, once he like dropped like the pin in, that was like the feeling that, you know, I'm gonna keep trying to like.
Joined today with An just had a grappling bout last weekend for NEF. An, how are you?
I'm good, Giuliano. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thank you for joining us. So last weekend was your first grappling bout for NEF. Your opponent, Alyssa Taylor, you won by rear naked choke. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. Alyssa Taylor, so thankful for her for taking the match. There's just not a lot of grapplers in, like, I feel like New England and like experience and you know, and small.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate her taking the match, and we've trained together for one of her cage match before. So I knew a little bit about her already. I knew she was gonna go out wrestling, and I knew that she had cage experience. I grappled in a cage for the first time, actually preparing her for one of these.
Yeah.
So that was where it really sparked my interest in this whole thing. And but no, I went out. I knew she was going to wrestle. I knew she was going to use her advantage with her cage experience. But I wanted to go out, have fun, and, you know, and do all the things that I've been working on for this fight. I was training a lot with wrestling, so I wanted to give that a shot in the cage. But yeah, it was quite humbling experience in the cage. You can't tip, like, you know, right off the bat.
How was the walkout feel? You know, you got the crowd, you got your music, it's all eyes on you. You're walking down all the lights. How did that feel?
That felt amazing, and it really like zoned me in because of like how dark it was, and then you know, your eyes are straight on like what was lit up, which was like the cage, and like that really got into my field. And really what kind of you know the moment was like, all right, go time, was when like the ref like initiated over to like the person that like walked down the cage, and that was like, okay, go time. It was like almost a moment of like, oh god, it's happening. Like, once he like dropped like the pin in, that was like the feeling that, you know, I'm gonna keep trying to like go back to the cage match just for like that whole experience, just the walking out, the crowd, the lights and the music. It was a lot of fun. It was completely different from what I typically go for competitions. I normally compete for IBJJF, so it's like, you know, this typical competition with like the 6 or 8 mats in a row with like a same amount of number of mats across, and it's just like crowd surrounding you, but it's just a lot going on. But like with this cage, it's like all eyes on you, like your spotlight. So that was really cool. But yeah, she was really tough. I went right into her game plan. I tried to be aggressive and rushed, and she was smart. She met me right at the cage and you know, flipped me right up against it. She felt really strong, really good. She, you know, got a rear naked choke right off the bat. Took me down from the fence and got the choke right off the bat. But
what was going through your mind when she had your back and you could feel like she was going for that choke?
I was like, because this is the first time I've ever had like family and friends, like this amount of family and friends at a match. So I was like, a part of me was like stubborn. I was like, if anything, I'm going out, not tapping. Stupid, naive, tough, whatever you want to call it. But I was like, it's going to the last breath. But either way, I was like, you know, I'm gonna fight through this. I stayed calm. And I did get into the cage once before for this match on that Tuesday. And the one thing, Ross, he fights for NEF before, and he fights at Dragonfire, and he actually helped me with some of the cage stuff. And one of the moves was to use the fence and push off. So once I felt her lock in, I can't remember exactly, but I remember I was like, oh, this is tight. I wasn't sure if I was able to like get my fingers in to try to like give me some space, but either way, I was like, all right, I'm going to use the fence. Once I pushed off the fence, I had Ross in my head a little bit, and once I did that, it loosened up, and I was able to flip the position. And once we got away from the fence, I was like, okay, now I remember how to do jiu-jitsu.
Yeah. No, that cage adds a whole nother element, just cage work, especially if you're like fighting and you're up against the cage, because it has some give to it. So you can kind of push off of it and like go for an underhook and just kind of reverse the position if you want. Or even for grappling, just use it to your advantage if you want to like cage walk, wall walk. You know, there's a bunch of different little tiny techniques.
I'll be more prepared next time, that's for damn sure. But just seeing from just a couple clips, she did beautiful right to the back. Like it was picture perfect for the beginning for her. So that was nice. And I knew I was like, you know, going out, not playing my game plan. I normally like play guard and like, you know, I pull guard, but I was like, no, like this is a match where I'm gonna have fun. I'm gonna go out, give the crowd what they want, be on my feet. Like I'm not as comfortable on there, but you know, I've been training it, so let's give it a shot. I was like, I knew whether it was my show or not, like it'll be fun, and it was fun, and it was such a great experience.
It was an amazing performance for the both of you. I was really intrigued, and like it was great. Back and forth.
It was
back and forth, which is great. You know, sometimes grappling matches are just kind of a lot of hand fighting, little stalemates. Someone may just go for a double sprawl, you know. But this one was back and forth. What was the feeling once you got the choke in on her and you felt her tap? What was the feeling of relief, or just what'd you feel after you locked it in and won?
I was like, I need to get back in again. I was like, let's do this again. Can we do this all over? Because I was like, I was training so hard, and I was like, you know, working this up. Like I'm a big like, you know, visualizer and like all that stuff, and I'm all about like the prep. Like as you were, like I was like texting you like, where should I be? Like I like to visualize these things, and I was like spending all this time doing it, and then it just like felt so long, but then once it ended, I was like, no, I'm not ready for it to end, and so. That was my feeling. I was like, is it over already? No. So,
Time definitely goes by really quick in the cage. Like, it just, everything's just, like, going so quick, you know?
Yeah.
Just looking at your opponent. What'd you do after to celebrate? Did you do anything?
I had a drink. But no, I stayed for the rest of the night. It was fun. We don't get to, you know, I've been training for competition. I'm in competition season now, and I've been training. So I just came back from a Dallas Open end of January, and then right afterwards I started preparing for this one. And like I'm very strict on like, you know, around competition time. I don't you know, go crazy on the snacks. I don't, you know, drink. I don't, I go to bed early, that sort of stuff, you know, staying on track. So it was nice to, after that, to just, you know, kind of sit back, hang out with friends and family who came to see the match, and hang out with everyone. So it was nice. And like NEF did such a great job, like with the rest of the night as well. Like all the fights were great, and all the fighters did a great job. So it was fun to watch.
Was that your first time at a mixed martial arts event? Live?
No, it wasn't. I actually went to NEF, like, I can't remember what number it was, but it was a while back. I think it was at Aura, and it was one of the first few ones. And it was like, you know, it was like just in the beginning where it was like not the kind of fighters that we have now. Like the fighters that we have now are like, you know, they're elite. And I think in the beginning it was more of like, you know, the people who are even like some hobbyists who got in the cage, and it was fun then. So now it's just like a whole different game. So it was kind of cool to kind of see the transition there, and seeing how NEF has grown, and to be a part of that at like, you know, seeing it before and then being a part of it now, and seeing how that transition was fun. Yeah,
that's awesome. How much weight do you cut when you compete for like your grappling bouts?
So I don't cut too much. So with this one, I just had to watch what I was eating, and I cut, you know, a little bit of water weight like the day before. Like I stepped on the scale. I don't know, my body was like holding on to like water or what, but I was or my scale was wrong. But I stepped on the scale Thursday morning. It was telling me I was 120. I was like, I don't feel like I'm 120. So just like paying attention to, you know, what I was like eating and drinking water, and I made weight no problem. But some of the other competition, I fight at like 118 in the gi, so 115 is like the perfect weight to just throw on a gi and then step right onto scale. But again, it's not really too much of cutting weight when I'm fighting at that weight. With competitions being the weight class I'm rooster weight for IBJJF, and it's really rare to have competitors, just like at the Open specifically. The bigger ones, well, we have and that's like probably 5 to 10 pounds for those type of competitions. But for the more like, you know, smaller competitions like the Opens or like the local ones like in Boston, I don't cut too much. I normally have to go up a couple weight classes to get
And then when you weigh in, it normally isn't it for like jiu-jitsu, it's you weigh in same day and then you compete a couple hours later, right?
Yeah, exactly.
For the MMA or the grappling for NEF, you can weigh in the day before and have a full 24 hours to rehydrate. So was that a little bit? Was that helpful? Did it feel a little different?
Yeah, I felt good with that one, and also I was like, you know, maybe I was at a disadvantage a little bit because I know Alyssa had to cut some weight, and but it felt good not having to, you know, watch everything I was eating and drinking up until the point where I was competing. So that was nice to be able to, you know, just eat what I wanted, not but to still kind of stay clean. So with like the IBJJF, you cut and then you walk in and then you fight, and so there's just no recovery there. So but I feel so good. I think my problem is that I try to bulk up and eat some extra, so I feel so much better when I do cut weight. So
how'd you feel walking into the cage on fight night? Did you feel like good? Your body was good? You weren't like overly full of liquid or food or anything?
Yeah, I had to be careful there because knowing that I didn't need to, you know, cut weight up until the moment of, I was like, I had to really still pay attention to what I was eating and putting into my body to make sure it gives enough fuel but not heavy. So I felt good. I felt like, you know, energized and ready to go, and I felt like that's where I was like, I can be aggressive for like a whole 5 minutes and still have like, you know, gas tank in the fuel still keep going. But
so what got you into
a whole different experience?
So what got you into doing jiu-jitsu first?
So I first got into doing jiu-jitsu because I was my husband actually got into it before I did. He started doing jiu-jitsu, kind of like filling his time while I was like coaching women's lacrosse, USM women's lacrosse. And so he was coming home, you know, telling me all about it and how this coach, Alexei Cruz, he's underneath De La Hiva, and he's like, you know, it's, you know, the lineage is great, and he's just right in Westbrook, and so he was talking it up a lot, and so I was like, all right, now I gotta try it out. And then I tried it out for like a class, and I was completely horrible, and it was going against every instinct in my body. But that's what really fueled like my passion for it even more. It just wasn't natural, and I was like, just the competitiveness of me was just like, I'm gonna figure it out. And so it just took off with it. I was like training probably just a day a week, I think, when I first started, and then once I was done coaching lacrosse, I took it on more like 3 days a week. And then after my first competition, after 6 months of doing jiu-jitsu, that was where like was like, all right, time to ramp it up. This is really what I want to do. It was that athlete in me that wasn't ready to give it up, and so to be able to compete again was nice. Yeah,
that's great. So I saw on your Instagram that you were the 2022 world champion for IBJJF. Yeah,
no-gi world champion. Yeah, that was fun. I decided to go to that actually a couple weeks out. I just got a feeling. I was like, you know, I started my master's program that fall, so there was like a lot going on and working full time. I was like, it was just something that I was like considering. But just a couple weeks out, I just like looked at my husband. I was like, I can really take on this division. Like, I can do it. And like, it was right after Thanksgiving too. I was like kind of like playing with the idea of like cutting weight, because like I told you, like I don't typically cut weight, and I was like, I'm feeling good right now. I'm feeling like I'm on a roll. Like, there was just like a part of me, I was just like, let's just do it. And then 2 weeks out, I signed up and then flew out there just for a couple of days and took home gold. But that,
That's
that
awesome.
was an awesome experience. Yeah.
That's
the hard work paying off.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So the gym you train at right now, that's in Westbrook, Alexei?
Yeah.
Yep. How often do you currently train right now?
I train as much as I can, but with a baby, it's kind of tough. But, you know, I try to train at like 6 a.m. or we just started a women's class on Fridays, and I get kind of double sessions there, like, you know, the women's class, and then we're staying for open mats, but trying to get more in the weekends. But, you know, I train up from 4 to 5 times a week, like not preparing for a competition, but with preparing for a competition, it's a minimum of like 5 to 6 times a week.
Nice.
So that's training just jiu-jitsu, but outside of that, you know, I still keep up with my cardio, keep up with my weightlifting. It's almost like easier to keep up with those things because it's on my own schedule, and rather than having to work around like a class time, you know. So
nice. Cool.
Always ready for competition. That's
good. Always ready. You never have to get ready.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Hey, thank you for joining me today on. I'm going to leave the floor to you. You can give any shout outs, anything else you want. The floor is yours. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I'd love to thank my husband. He has been, you know, great with supporting me from school to taking one for the team, watching the baby while I train. My parents, just, you know, watching the baby every day, and even the night of the fight, and they're just always willing to take the baby anytime for me to do jiu-jitsu. Every time I ask, they're just like, jiu-jitsu again? So they know the game plan now. But definitely my teammates and my coach always like preparing me and instilling confidence in me for anything that I do. You know, getting me ready to be on my feet, wrestling. And I definitely want to give a shout out to Dragonfire, who let me into their gym the week before a fight to get some cage time, and I had a couple of my teammates, my husband and Sebastian and Tristan, coming out to give me some hard rounds in the cage to prepare me for this fight. But I you know, doing this is not easy with a baby, but it takes a village, like they say, just to raise a baby. But to do jiu-jitsu as a mother, it takes a whole jiu-jitsu community and the family support. And I am very lucky to be doing this as a mother and to be as accomplished. And I hope to continue to inspire, you know, women to not hold back on having a baby, but, you know, to push forward and to live all of their dreams. So thank you again for having me. I really appreciate you and Meg and John actually for making this happen.
Shout out to Megan and John Hamilton. Shout out to Megan.
If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't have had the time of my life in the cage at NEF 61. So thank you again.
Thank you. I appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you back in there.
Yes. I'll be more prepared in the cage this time.